Hello and welcome to another A Trainspotter From Berkshire video. In this video, I'll be explaining what updates have been made with HS2 since my last HS2 video, which was nearly a year ago. I'll be covering the non-existent money, the HS2 Lite, Old Common, Birmingham Curzon Street, London Euston and so much more. Let's start off with a little recap of what HS2 is. HS2 is a 360 km/h railway running from London to Birmingham and onto a link with the West Coast Mainline Trent Valley at Handsacre, with an alignment design of 400 km/h running, with a planned opening between 2029 and 2033. What is HS2 Lite? HS2 Lite was created in response to the Rishi Sunak cancelling the Phase 2 of HS2 by the two mayors of Birmingham and Manchester, which were Andy Streak and Andy Burnham, to still provide a West Coast Mainline capacity raise. HS2 Lite will be built into the same alignment as HS2 Phase 2, however will be built to have a top speed of 320 km/h, the majority of the Trent LGV network. This line will be privately funded to minimise initial costs to the taxpayers. However, in the long run, taxpayers will have to pay more for it. HS2 Lite will most likely use ballasted track. However, in the report it does say that it may a saving in the long run from using ballastless track like HS1 Phase 2 Phase 1 is using. The two mayors' report suggests that HS2 Lite between Handsacre and Crewe should be called the Staffordshire Connector, with a new line route from Crewe to HS3 in the Warrington area, and this would be called the Cheshire Connector. HS2 and Wales. Due to Westminster declaring HS2 as an England and Wales project rather than a pure England project, this has led to the Wales having a shortfall of £4 billion in rail investment. Pride Cumbria is requesting for HS2 to be reclassified as an England-only project so they can receive the £4 billion which is owed to them in the broken Barnet formula. This would enable them to reinvest money in a new North-South Wales mainline, as well as electrification of other Wales in mainlines in Wales and borders. HS2, even though it doesn't serve Wales, will still provide an improvement in service, as they'll be able to run more Wales and borders services because some of the long-distance West Coast Mainline services will no longer be using the classic lines, which could allow a new hourly car to Birmingham via Shrewsbury service, which could potentially be run by Transport for Wales Rail. Also, it has been suggested by the Group Rail Future that HS2 should have a high-speed link to South Wales to allow some intercity services to be sped up and therefore increase capacity and attractiveness to the other parts of the country. London Euston. In Labour's first budget, it was confirmed that London Euston would be on HS2, with Lord Hendy saying it will have 6 platforms. The rail engineer Gareth Dennis said 6 platforms will limit HS2's maximum frequency to 10 trains per hour, unlike the original planned 17 trains per hour. In response, the Department of Transport confirmed they're looking for the option of treating stays for an extra 3 or 4 platforms at London Euston for HS2, if the demand is there, as they're not to hinder future services upgrades for the reversal back to the phase station building rather than building it all in one go. Old Common Station. The first two all-line blocks for HS2 new Old Common Station have been done on the Great Western Railway. This saw Great Western Railway services diverted into London Euston at a frequency of 2 trains per hour, with 1 train from South Wales and 1 from the West Country via the Darks and Hants, as well as to head to the Didcot Railway Centre for storage due to the inability to access North Pole Depot. These 2 all-line blockades allowed new signal gantries, early portal gantries, to be installed as part of the widening of the Great Western Mainline from 4 to 8 tracks at Old Common. They have started to build both the up and down relief platforms, as well as started to lay the sleepers for the future relief lines. The plan is to remain on release to a temporary line at Christmas 2026 to enable platforms 1 to 3 to be constructed. Platform 4 and 5 would have remained temporary alignment, with 6 to 8 to be used for the relief temporary alignment. Then in Christmas 2028, the mains would be moved into their terminal lines through platforms 1 to 4, and reliefs would be moved into their terminal lines at the same time to platforms 5 to 8. All HS2 platforms will feature platform screen doors, as well as all platforms of the Great Western Mainline and HS2 will have level boarding to address complaints that Elizabeth line trains might not have level boarding due to them using an older level boarding standard. Birmingham Interchange Station. Birmingham Interchange Station will be a 4-platform station with a layout identical to Tonbridge in Kent. Birmingham Interchange Station will feature a T-mover system to shuttle people between Birmingham International Airport, Birmingham International Station, the National Exhibition Centre, and Birmingham Interchange. The layout will also allow trains to accelerate to 140 miles per hour before being moved onto the mains line off the accelerating loops at Birmingham Interchange. Birmingham Curzon Street. Birmingham Curzon Street will have 7 terminating platforms with the West Midlands Rector running underneath the station. Birmingham Curzon Street will be a short way from Birmingham Moor Street to have an increased number of intercity services as cross-country will divert some of their long-distance services into Moor Street from New Street via the Dorsley corridors, and will be running on the Chiltern Main Line all the way from Danbury rather than going via Coventry. The West Midlands Metro will not start construction on the section under Birmingham Curzon Street until 2026 to allow for the girders for Curzon Street to be installed before they can start work on installing the track in New Canal Street. HS2's rolling stock. Hitachi and Euston released some photos of the interior layout for the new HS2 trains. The new trains will feature market-leading seats with a legroom of 87 cm, as well as tray tables with built-in USB sockets in the back of the seats. They also show off the perfect train platform interface for the new HS2 trains will achieve without requiring humps in the coach floors to go with bogies. These trains will feature level boarding as well as sliding steps to minimise the horizontal gap between train and platform due to them being built to the UK loading gauge that running in the road up to the larger European loading gauge. The UK loading gauge trains are 7% more expensive than the European loading gauge trains. So for pure high-speed units they will be built to the European loading gauge, which will allow to be more spacious for the customers. Signalling and telecoms. HS2 awarded the contract for the European Train Control System Level 3 signalling with a maximum operational capacity of 17 trains per hour, which is the design step for the signalling system, as it's easier to keep some excess capacity than remove it and then add it back in later. Siemens Stability Limited was awarded the contract on the 19th of December 2024 for not just the signalling but also the high voltage electrical system, with Colas getting the contract for the installation of the overhead line equipment. Bridges and tunnels. HS2 has completed the Chiltern Tunnel drawing and now has started to fit out the process for the 10-mile long Chiltern Tunnels. In October, HS2 got the green light to start construction on the older Common to Euston tunnels. HS2 has started their way through the construction of the West Wessex older Common tunnels, which will use an installation to deal with the high water pressure in the Greenford area. I strongly recommend you watching well-focused videos about it in the description of this video. Once you have finished watching this video, HS2 has completed the Colne Valley Viaduct in September 2024. HS2 has completed the slide of the Smaldene Viaduct as well. East-West Rail. HS2 handed over the section of East-West Rail which they constructed, which has allowed Network and Chiltern Roads to begin testing with trains running between Oxford and Milton Keynes Central. The section of HS2 will be designed as a 4 tracks with 2 tracks for HS2 and the other 2 tracks for Network Rail's L3. The plan is to have regular passenger service from May 25. Timetable change along East-West Rail, however, the L3 is yet to be fully funded. Network North. As a result of Richie Sunak cancelling Phase 2 of HS2, the last Tory government announced a series of projects to reinvest the HS2 Phase 2 pot of money. However, as confirmed by the current Labour government, this money never existed, due to how HS2 and other major infrastructure projects are funded. They are funded from future returns rather than taxes. This means there's no pot of money labelled HS2, which can be diverted to Network North. Also, less than 24 hours after Network North was announced, they already had cancelled some of the projects like the Leamside line. They also made a big fuss about build a Manchester Metrolink extension to Manchester Airport, which had already been open for just shy of 9 years at the point Network North was announced. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment and share to A Trainspotter From Berkshire.